What's up everyone, back for another beer review, and today is day 17 of all Imperial Beer Theme Month here on the channel. And the beer I'm reviewing today once again comes from the AleSmith Brewing Company, and they are out of San Diego, California, and this is their Speedway Grand Prix 2024, and this is the Maple Bar edition. So this is an Imperial Stout with maple syrup, coffee, and natural flavors. It comes in at 12% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed. Time of review, and this can is just over 3 months old. So this month I am reviewing all 4 variants from AleSmith's Speedway Grand Prix 2024 mixed 4-pack release. So they released 4 different variants of their iconic Speedway Stout. I reviewed the Chocolate Raspberry Edition a couple weeks ago. Last week I reviewed the Rocky Road Edition. This week I'm reviewing the Maple Bar Edition, and then the final one next week will be their Toasted Coconut Vietnamese Coffee Edition, and I'm reviewing them in order of least to most excited. And the first 2 were actually pretty good. I like the Chocolate Raspberry a little bit more than the Rocky Road, but they were both quite tasty. I love that I can taste the base Speedway Stout influence, very coffee forward, just a delicious base beer. So this one I'm very excited about because I love maple syrup, and I'm curious to see how this one lands. They're going for a maple bar in Imperial Coffee Stout form, and I'm here for it. And also shout out to a very good friend of mine, a fellow beer tuber, Joe, over at Joe's Arcade. You guys know Joe, and in December for Stoutmas, he reviewed this one, and I actually watched it. It's rare that I watch a review before I drink the beer if I know I have the beer, but I wanted to see what he thought about it, and he didn't really get the maple. It didn't come through as much as he hoped. He still thought it was really good, and much like I've been saying about these beers, he loves that he can still taste the coffee in them. So I'm hoping I get more maple than him, but I just want to let you guys know, full disclosure, I've already seen a review of this one from Joe, and he did not get the maple. So if I don't get the maple here, I'm not going to be super surprised or anything, but at the same time, maybe, everyone's palate is different, so maybe it'll come through for me. I don't know, we'll see, but that is a beautiful looking beer. As you can see, that is pitch black. When I pour it out, it's pitch black. Hold up to light, pitch black. I feel like this is a little bit darker than the other 2, but I forget most of my reviews. Sometimes if I'll remember stuff from like 5 years ago, but I can't remember stuff from 5 minutes ago, that type of thing. But has about a finger of a dark brown, almost mocha kind of color to it. Very creamy looking, looks beautiful. It looks like it's dissipating. Could be from obviously the adjuncts and whatnot, but yeah, I think that looks like a very nice beer. I'll try to swirl up ahead here and see, can we bring it back a little bit? We can bring it back a little bit. So anyway, let's get a nose on this. It just smells like, it smells like Speedway Stout. I take that back. It smells like a sweeter version of Speedway Stout. So if you had like a big, kind of, let's say you had a cup of coffee, like a cold brew or like iced coffee, but you used too much sweetener in it, or maybe you put too much of like a special flavor in it. It doesn't smell like maple. It kind of just smells like a generic sweetness, like pretty much anything. But man, it's like mocha vibes. There's huge coffee, medium to dark roasted coffee, has a sweetness to it. There's some chocolate in here, a little bit of vanilla. Touch of roasted malt. This smells, and this is just over 3 months old, which isn't like, crazy fresh or anything, but for beer like this, it should be fine. I think when Joe drank his was a couple months old. But it doesn't, it smells like a faded maple beer. And I've had enough faded maple beers where I kind of can, figure out what I'm tasting as far as like the maple is concerned. And this just smells like faded maple syrup, which turns into generic sweetness for me anyway. Touch of dark fruit, but like I said, this is pretty much chocolate, coffee, vanilla. It's a sweeter cold brew coffee in beer form. I can't detect the 12% alcohol by volume. Really, really, it smells delicious, honestly. But it's a maple bar edition, and it doesn't smell like maple whatsoever. Let's get into it. Cheers, everyone. Yeah, I mean, the taste is the same thing. So, Joe, your palate, 2 thumbs up. No, when he said that, and he was drinking it, again, fresher than I did, I got kind of bummed out because I know I picked up this 4-pack, and I plan on reviewing it in the new year. And the first 2 variants I got a lot of the adjuncts. That chocolate raspberry totally got the chocolate and the raspberry. The Rocky Road, I got the vast majority of the adjuncts. Didn't taste exactly like Rocky Road, but I got some of the nuttiness. There was a big marshmallow vibe. It was nice. This is just like you took Speedway Stout and kind of bumped the sweetness. Still really nice. It's just disappointing for what this beer is supposed to be. Body mouthfeel. Body is like medium full body. Maybe a bit thin at 12%, but not anything that's detracting from the beer. The mouthfeel, nice moderate carbonation. It's smooth on the palate, a little bit of creaminess. Body and mouthfeel are fine for what this beer should be. The taste, this tastes like just like a slightly sweeter Speedway Stout, which I'm not mad at all. But I'm disappointed because these are all different variants of Speedway Stout, and this one just doesn't hit me in the feels like the other two at this point. Forefront, mocha. It's a dark chocolate meets like a medium to almost like dark roasted coffee. There's some underlying roasted malt. And that kind of hits me right at the forefront. Carries on through the palate. It's omnipresent. Get a little bit of like a fruit, like a generic fruitiness, like maybe like a dark fruit. I'll say nondescript dark fruit. I can't really pick one out, but it has a little bit of generic fruitiness. Vanilla on the sides of the tongue. And then there's just, again, this generic kind of sweetness that I'm getting, and I'd imagine it's the maple. I would love to know if like you drank this like a day or two old, if the maple actually, you know, carried through. Maybe it fell off really quickly, or maybe it was never here to begin with. But this is the most disappointing of the three, just because it's a maple bar version of it, and I'm really getting zero maple, just a generic, you know, sweetness that is still enjoyable. It's still a nice beer, and I'm enjoying it. It's just, I'd rather drink regular Speedway Stout, I guess. The finish is semi-dry. A nice mild to moderate bitterness. I've been saying this about all the Speedway Grand Prix variants. The coffee comes through in spades in all three of the beers. This one, maybe a little less than the other two, but it does have an almost moderate bitterness, like coffee bitterness on the palate. Almost a little bit of like a residual, like piney kind of hop character too. I think I said that in one of the other ones. I think it might have been the chocolate raspberry variant. And it makes for a much more enjoyable drinking experience from a balance aspect, because a beer like this, you're thinking 12% maple syrup, it's going to be over the top sweet. No, it has a rich, decadent kind of vibe to it, but it's not like cloying, and it's not even sickly sweet like some of these beers can be. It's not even like crazy sweet. It just has a little bit more oomph of sweetness that you wouldn't get in the regular Speedway Stout. So I think that's what the maple's doing here. 12%, big warming in my chest. Nothing on the palate, hides it pretty well. This is a nice variant of Speedway, but that's about it. It's good. It's not great. It's not even very good. It's just good. I gave the chocolate raspberry edition a 4.2. I gave the Rocky Road a 4.15. And I'm going to give this lower. So I'm actually going, like, I'm reviewing these, and again, least to most excited. I did that for the Jack's Abbey Framingham pastry porter variety pack that Rick sent my way, a good friend of mine, viewer of the channel. And I think I've done fucked up for the most part, because the chocolate raspberry to date of the three of the four I've tried has been the best. And this is my least favorite. So I'm just like, I'm reviewing them backwards. I really hope next week when I review the toasted coconut Vietnamese coffee one, that actually is the best, because otherwise I did this incorrectly. But anyway, the Speedway Grand Prix 2024 Maple Bar Edition from AleSmith, I'm going to go straight 4 out of 5. I think on Untappd, Joe gave it maybe a similar score, and I think I'm kind of like right where he is. Like what he said is pretty much what I'm saying. It's a good beer. It's Speedway Stout at its soul. It's just the maple has done nothing other than add a generic sweetness and not a specified maple character. And I think if anybody's picking up this beer, like if you get a single of this and you see Maple Bar Edition, you'll want maple. Like that's what I want. And it did not deliver on the maple, but it's still a good beer. It's still 4 out of 5. It's just, you know, the easiest way to explain this is I always say ratings don't matter, and they don't. If you come to my review and you ask my opinion, would you recommend this to anybody? I would recommend this to somebody if you want a sweeter Imperial coffee stout that's quite tasty. But if you're looking for maple, stay away. It doesn't have maple. At least I'm not detecting any. Price point for the mixed 4-pack here in, or not here, I got this in Mentor, Ohio, as I mentioned. I picked up, or did I mention I got this? I got this in Mentor, Ohio. $16.99 a 4-pack. That's a great deal. $4.25 a can all day, every day for a Speedway Stout variant. It's 12%. It has maple syrup coffee, natural flavors. I can't get it in Buffalo, New York, so I'm fine with paying that price point. If you could get it for cheaper, that's cool as well. I remember Joe saying like, $5, $6 for a pint of this. How can you go wrong? You really can't. Even though I'm just giving this a 4 out of 5, it's still a good beer. I'm going to drink the rest of it. I'm not going to hate my life. It's fine. And for $4.25 a can, all day, every day. And then availability, it's AleSmith. We don't see them here in Buffalo, New York anymore. We used to see them when they were in the 750 milliliter bottles, they're, with the foil tops and everything. And then over the years, they kind of disappeared from the Buffalo, New York area. However, they do still get them in Ohio. So whenever I go to Ohio, I look for AleSmith beers and specifically any Speedway Stout variants because I like trying them. And I got to try 4 this year, or I've tried 3 so far and try another one. But yeah, just a bit of a bummer, I guess, is the way to explain this one. I wanted maple. I didn't get it, but I did get a nice beer. So if you've had this one before, post in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about it. Like I said, 12%, nice warming in my chest. No real astringency on the palate. I would maybe guess like 10 or 11% if I was doing a blind because it is a little bit thinner body. But for the most part, it drinks kind of close to its ABV, so it doesn't hide the alcohol extremely well. Yeah, I wish I got maple. One more sip and then we'll shut it down. And again, I'm drinking this out of my dark beer fridge at 54 degrees Fahrenheit. By the time this has warmed up and I've reviewed it, probably closer to 60 now, or maybe the high 50s. I don't think this is going to get much better when it gets warmer. I don't think the maple's going to come in the forefront. And as I took that sip, the coffee's a little bit more apparent. So yeah, this is kind of like you took the base Speedway Stout and accentuated it with some kind of sweetness to make it a little bit more of a sweeter Imperial Coffee Stout, which I'm all for. It's just, when I pick up a beer like this, I see maple on the label, it's go time, and it was not go time today. So appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol and another all Imperial Beer Theme Month. Check back next week. I'll be reviewing the final one. Like I said, it's toasted coconut Vietnamese coffee. That should be the best. Will it be? I have no idea. I thought this was going to be one of the best, and it's not. We're going to find out together. To the next one. Cheers.